Welcome to CrimeMitten. We are your hosts. I'm Shelby.
And I'm Alia.
Every week you'll hear a new true crime story based in Michigan, from the mysterious missing cases to the gruesome murders that left the police struggling to stay on the scene. We're giving you the inside scoop on what's going on in our Mitten state. Tune in every Wednesday for your weekly dose of Michigan true crime.
Hi everyone. This week we are doing another Netflix documentary. It took us a really long time to figure out if we were on number 4 or 5. We had to go back and check to realize that we're on number 5. It just seemed like time really been going fast.
I know. We actually, this is like a baby milestone because this is our 5th Netflix doc. And then we did our 20th case.
We did the 20th case, yeah.
Yeah, so this is, like
a milestone week.
A milestone week. We're doing good on, we're hitting the milestone on YouTube soon, aren't we?
I thought we were.
For 40, 50 miles.
Close. Something. So this week we are doing, what was it called? I know it's the Billy Milligan, but the whole name is really, really long.
Monsters Inside. It's a really long name.
Monsters Inside, the 24 Faces of Billy Milligan.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing that this week. What did you know about Billy Milligan before? What did you know about Billy Milligan before we started? Before we watched?
I don't think I know anything really about him. His name sounds familiar, but not
like the name sound familiar, but I don't really know. I didn't know anything else. Yeah. But like the name, and I knew the personalities.
Yeah, and that's just and I know with the dissociative identity disorder, I know about that, but like himself,
he didn't really.
I don't think so. Because at first, I think I almost confused him with the guy that was just admitting to everything. Remember that guy? I can't remember his name.
I know who you're talking about, but I don't know.
Like the guy, he confessed to like 100 murders, just to do it. So,
like an attention.
Yeah. So I thought that was him, but no, it's not him.
Yeah. So like getting to the plot and everything, like we said, Billy was a man with, the multiple personalities. In the beginning, I guess Shelby was only on episode 1 when she told me to watch it, because she told me he had 6 personalities. And then at the end of the episode, when they got to naming off all these personalities, I think they named off like 4, and then it was like, yeah, and all the rest. I was like, all the rest.
You know what?
I thought it was on 2.
They only introduced like certain their last name, because I completely forgot. Like, I'm the one that found it. Yeah. I forgot it was called 24. So I was stuck on the number like 14. Like,
she was like, it's something about there's something about a man with multiple personalities, and it's called Monsters Inside, I think. And quite honestly, I had forgot, because it was just like one day we were just talking and she mentioned it, and I completely forgot. And I sat down to watch TV, and I'm like, oh, is this it? She was like, yeah, that's the one. Like, I should probably start watching this.
No, and it was really good though.
Yeah. I should mention, today we're covering the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And the first episode was so hard to get through.
Really?
I couldn't, I don't know what it was. Also, Mercury retrograde. I'm just gonna keep blaming that, because I could not watch
I think I probably watched it right before it started.
I could not get through that first episode. It was I kept falling asleep. I wasn't interested. I was on my phone. I couldn't do it. It took so long to get. I think when it was time to go back and take notes, I was okay with it, because now I know what it's really getting into.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of interviews and slow talking. And I can't watch stuff on the normal speed. And because it was on the TV, I had to watch it on the normal speed, and they were talking so slow, and it was so dreadful, and I could not take it. So I started watching it on the laptop, and I sped it up to 1.5, and I was fine.
That is so weird.
I can't watch or listen to anything.
I don't know. I got through them pretty quick. I wouldn't say I was a big fan of one, but I was able to get. Yeah, I got through nap time, so.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I could get through everything during nap time.
Yeah, so at this part it got into we're in at Ohio State University, and it began in October of 1977. So that's when the campus rape started happening, and Billy claimed to not have known it was him. But the sketch was a man with a mustache, a hat, and sunglasses, and like all of this happened within 12 days. So it was really no like relief time. There was no time to pick up patterns.
Yeah.
It was just happening. But I guess luckily they were able to get a description. But at that time, it's the 70s. Everybody has mustache, sunglasses.
Yeah, that was the thing. The description, like the
like so.
the sketch
big.
looked like everybody in that time period. Like
everybody around the campus.
You know what's so crazy? The sketch looked like characters that played like movies and stuff from that time period. She was like, "Is that Adam Sandler?" Like,
you really don't know who it is.
It was like, no, this is like the generic, most generic you could do.
Right. So, like I said, it all happened within 12 days, so there was really no break time. So the first person, these first two happened near the medical center of the campus. It was a lady in a parking lot, and she in a university parking lot, and she was approached, kidnapped, and raped. The second one was a nurse, so obviously the medical center, and she was switching shifts, and he caught her then. The third one happened around student housing, and then the fourth one was a worker downtown in the downtown Columbus parking lot.
Yeah, and it's weird because like you would think like the first two medical, you're like, all right, so we gonna post up here.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, yeah, no.
I was moving anyway.
I'm spontaneous. Like
right,
they were
like
really spontaneous.
No time to look for any type of patterns.
No.
So volunteers had began to start walking the women to class, and then where they needed to go, library, whatever they needed to go, because everybody was just nervous. But this reminded me of when during the Oakland County child killer, when people were leaving like the Purple Hearts in their windows, and it's like, how do you know this is a good person though? Like I get it's like you're trying to help, but how do I know this is really a good person?
Yeah, like
you could be
anybody can put a Purple Heart in the window.
Same thing. Like anybody could be walking me to class and not really walking me to class.
And not walking you to class.
So I will still be scared.
Yeah, so it wasn't efficient. But
I mean,
it was nice for the effort.
Right,
it was. Like,
it was a nice effort, but I would still be too scared for that.
Yeah, like if you could find somebody, like let's say you had a guy friend that you like.
That's different.
All right, we moved up here together. You'd be like, okay, like I know, and then like you could vouch for him for your other friends. Like, no, I know this guy's like legit and stuff. But like a random stranger, like, hey, I'm here to take you to
no, you're not
calculus. Like, I guess I don't take calculus.
I'm sick. Cough, cough. So, but like, luckily for the investigators, Billy left fingerprints, and you know the ladies are testifying against him. So they found his fingerprints, and he had previously done time in the Ohio prison as well as the Ohio youth prison. So his fingerprint, they had his fingerprints. They knew basically instantly it was him. Mm-hmm. There was really
there's no hiding it.
It was no hiding it. It was him. So, they they got a search warrant, went to his house. His words were, "Look out for the bomb." Yeah.
This guy is like that's when I was like, is he bullcrapping me already?
Exactly.
Like,
already. So, and the whole time, they called out the fire department and everything. They're like, look for this bomb. It was a fake bomb. Yeah. Nothing but batteries, wires. It was batteries and wires in the shoebox.
Yeah. And it's like, I could have did that. He seen them coming and like, oh shit, think quick.
Pick that.
Just go throw them off.
And it didn't. They still had them.
They still got you.
So, and then that was the thing that kind of like, where's this one of your personalities doing it? Because how you know, what you think they're coming for?
True. Because, like, if you're innocent.
You innocent, what you...
And they coming.
Setting stuff up for as a distraction.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That was one of the things I thought of.
Yeah, that is a good point. Because, like, the way they did it, like, they made him seem like Billy wasn't as, like, out there as, like, some of his personalities. So, like, I don't, like, you know,
Like
if
he
you do
was
Billy,
the
would you be
sweet,
like...
innocent
Yeah.
person who wouldn't do anything to anybody.
But would
like,
Billy be like, it's a bond? Like,
right.
is that... Yeah.
Is that normal for him?
Might not have been him. They should have checked the accent.
Right. Check the accent, see who it was at that time. So they found like trophies of the victims. They found IDs, like IDs and wallets and stuff from the victims. And then one of the guys was like, it was just so many paintings. Like we wondered if they were stolen because he painted and he was like an artist type.
He was
of guy.
actually a pretty good painter at
pretty
that.
Good artist. He was an easy rest. He never denied, never said he didn't do anything, never questioned him. He just went along with it.
Just complied.
Right.
Like, I guess he's like, people, they told me I did this, so
I guess I did.
I was asleep, I thought, but I guess I wasn't asleep.
Right. So his brother Jim said he was in disbelief. His childhood friend Sharon said that she was shot. Pamela was another childhood friend and said she was shocked and he was incapable of doing these crimes.
Yeah, they seen him as like this, like we said, innocent small friend and stuff. Like,
they didn't think he could do any of this.
It's like, if anything, like, people probably picked on him more than he picked on somebody else. So that can't be him. It's like, you never know these people. Like, everybody, every case we do, somebody one time at least says,
they could never do anything like this. Like, okay. I think John was the only person that's like,
he did that.
They're like, oh yeah, he did it. It was no doubt about it. Like, even his sister didn't even care about taking him off life support. Like,
you're right. Go ahead.
Take him off. So, his sister Kathy Preston thought her brother was in trouble and didn't know what to do. Like, she said that basically in court he looked scared, like a clueless child while sitting in court. And that he was really messed up.
Wasn't she she was the younger sister. She was, no. I think she was his younger. Yeah, they had a really close relationship.
Yeah, they were really close.
Yeah.
So, was she younger or was she in the middle? Either way, they were really close in age, but she said it was a bigger age gap between her and the older brother than her and Billy. So her and Billy were really close.
Yes, I think it was Jim, Billy, and then her. I think she was I think so.
Probably. Either way, her and Billy were closer in age than her and Jim were. So, he was given lawyers because he didn't have the money for lawyers. So Judy Stevenson and Gary, was it like, I can't even say it. I can't think of it right now. But Gary were well-respected lawyers.
He looked up on the public defender. Like, if you was to look up, like, God, I don't want to say this, but, like, he's kind of like how OJ was when he found, like, what's his name? What's his name? God, I can't remember his name. Johnny Cochran. That's how he was, because, like, these two was, like, so well-respected. Like, they had... Like, they were known for being able to find the one thing in the case. They like, every case is different. And there's always one turning point in the case. And it's just like, y'all don't miss.
Right.
Every time.
So, I say, Gary could talk the judge, or talk the jury into making his client look innocent. Meanwhile, Judy could talk the judge down on sentencing. So, them together were a force. But I feel like as a woman, I wouldn't be able to represent a rapist.
No. It's so tricky.
Even if, like, you don't... Still, he's not found guilty yet. But if these women, all four of these women are saying it's him, there's no way I could represent a rapist.
It's like, what do I stand for?
Rapist. Yeah.
And then the thing is, it's not even like everybody has the right to, like, you know, a equal trial and stuff, all that. But, like, I don't think I could go as hard for you as, like, I could as your lawyer with that. Like, because you're supposed to have the confidentiality between your lawyers. So he can come to you and be like, no, I did it.
I did it. But
and you can't do nothing. Like, you still got to prove your case. Like, that's when it comes into, like, do you care about your rap sheet?
Morals,
Yeah,
or your job.
Yeah, so that's definitely tricky.
Yeah. So after being appointed to these defenders, Gary went to talk to Billy and basically told him not to talk to anybody, not to answer any questions. And he said at that point he instantly picked up that it was something different about Billy. Dr. Sheila Porter was an employee at the Southwest Community Mental Health Center in the forensic psychiatry department. And they also they took the emergency calls from the jails.
Yeah.
So they got a call saying that Billy had pulled the urinal off the wall and had it's not funny. That he pulled the urinal off the wall and was trying to cut himself with like the little pieces of porcelain. And she said that he also looked scared and like a lost little boy when she was sitting across from him. He always drew, like anytime he was able to draw, he always drew, and they noticed that all of his pictures looked completely different.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Like you have some that was like
perfect,
kid-like,
and then the one that looked like a 2-year-old drew it, and then
compared to Picasso.
Yeah,
and you're like, the same person did this,
right? But like he was always drawing, and it were like mostly rag dolls hanging from something. And they were saying like that kind of showed that he was suicidal. And it was like basically it was like showing signs of him being suicidal. And basically thought he wasn't able to stand trial.
Yeah.
So to be competent to stand trial, you have to understand the nature of the crime, understand right and wrong, the difference between right and wrong, and be able to like cooperate with your attorney to help defend you. Judge J.C. Flowers, he was strict, and treated everyone fairly.
Yeah, they said he was a pretty good judge for this case.
Yeah, he was well respected. He was a good judge, and they thought he was good for this case. Dr. Dorothy Turner evaluated Billy and talked to him several times, and like even she like kind of saw that it was something off with him.
Something not right there.
She gave him what was it called? Like the roar I can't even say it. Roar Croach. I think it was like a War Croach test.
The test with the shapes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so she gave him that test, and basically his test results were unusable. And
yeah, I thought about that when they said like unusable. Oh, wait, so y'all just toss the papers?
Yeah,
like,
right. What did you do with him at that point?
This ain't it.
He ain't no good for this. But his results varied from his results varied from like basically at a level of what they said was retardation or genius. So it was like it just varied. It was all over the place. And then they did an EEG scan of his brain waves, and there are like three different brain waves throughout your life, and like determined by age basically. And the test showed that Billy was much younger than what he really was. And then of course they did more tests, and they were all different.
Yeah, now he's an old man. And
right.
Like now he's in like his prime. And
right, yeah. So it was like just kind of all over the place. And his defenders had never seen anything like this, so they were like kind of confused. And Dr. Sheila said that when he switched between personalities, you could really tell, and like his eyes would roll into the back of his head, and like they would flutter, and that's how she knew she would be talking to a new person. And his mother always said like there were two different Billys.
They would refer to it like, oh, that's just the other Billy. Yeah. Like it's so crazy how the stuff that like we just like, oh, that's just him, but it's like, no, that's a serious condition.
That's somebody else. That's somebody else for real. So like his mom said she always noticed two different Billys, but they just thought it was just
Billy.
Right, Billy
being
Billy,
like.
So Dr. Frank Putnam, he said that the condition has been around, this disorder has been around since the 1800s, and maybe he wasn't there, or he did it physically, but somebody in his head did it. Like, somebody did it. So at the same, he don't know he did it, but he still needs to serve some time, because these people have already said he did it. 4 women wouldn't choose one guy,
one person,
and say that's the one who did it. So I mean, it was done. So somebody has to serve the time, and it's only right that
it's messed up.
Right,
it gotta be you.
You get right. Who else is gonna serve this time for you? So like I said, the prosecutors thought it was a joke. George Harding was asked by Gary to, if he wanted to join in the case and evaluate him, evaluate Billy, and so of course he agreed. He wanted to see what was going on with the case, and they said during this evaluation, Billy's voice and his accents changed throughout the interview. And then it was like, okay, his voice has changed, but did he do the eye flutter that he did in the other evaluation?
Right.
They didn't say that part.
Yeah, they left that.
Thinking about that.
They left it out because now at this point, it's like they not telling him what he has, but they're like, okay, something's wrong with you. So now you kind of up the antics of what you do. Like, well, like if we don't believe that he really had this, you start upping up antics. Like now I just talk in a Russian accent and a British accent ever so often and stuff. Like, so I don't know. Like, I want to know, like, was like how many of the symptoms were consistent?
Yeah, that's what, like, how much consistency was there? Because now he's changing accents, but can you tell when he's switching?
Yeah.
What is he doing?
Because that was your like
telltale
sign in the beginning. Like, if he's not doing that no more, like,
what's happening?
Is this a phase?
What's happening at this point?
So it's a lot of questions because this is like so fresh for them. But no, it's a lot of questions of like, are y'all like trigger happy because this is something new, we all get to put our hands in it, or is it like, okay, no, something is really new, we should get to the bottom.
We should figure out what it is. So another doctor, Dr. Ronald Litvack, was asked by Harding to talk to Billy as well. And then another doctor, Dr. Marlene Dr. Marlene Cocan, was also asked by Harding to be Billy's psychotherapist. What's he called? So Dr. Marlene Cocan was also asked by Harding if she would like to be Billy's psychotherapist. And at the time, she wasn't convinced that he had the disorder. She didn't really know what to believe at that point. And
which is how everybody should have kind of came into it,
right?
Like, with the clear mind of like, okay, it might not be true.
Jumping in because it's something new you're hearing about. Like, is this? Yeah. Dr. Cornelia Weber was the psychiatrist who worked with and treated Sybil. Sybil was like kind of like a big patient at the time, or like earlier, and she was the one who actually treated Sybil, and she took all 16 of her personalities and morphed them back into one. And she gave the insight and the tips and like kind of helped them with Billy. So during her meeting with Billy, after her meeting with Billy, that's when she became fully convinced, and like other doctors who thought it wasn't real, that's when they're like, okay, maybe
she signed off on it, so it must be real.
Like during that interview, that's when they're like, okay, maybe this is real. So Dr. Wilbur stated in her opinion that Billy was mentally ill and not capable of cooperating with his counsel and unable to have a fair trial. Dr. Harding couldn't go back. He couldn't be the one that say like, okay, he's incapable. He had to basically be the one that's like, they go back to the court and say like, okay, he couldn't say if he was legally insane or not.
Right.
Insane or not. So he had to he just had to go back to the court, state his opinion, like, I don't think that he can stand trial, and then let the court themselves.
They decide.
Yeah.
Like, it's just an educated opinion from you guys. Like, what do you guys think? This is y'all field.
And then he couldn't even say, like, based on now. He had to say at the time of the attacks.
Yeah.
Was he...
Because that's what matters. It's not like,
where was
okay,
his head
not
at that
your
time?
headspace now. We have to think about then.
In October of 1977, where was your head at? So Billy was sent to Harding for treatment, to Harding Hospital for treatment. And Dr. Wilbur said that she knew 20 minutes into the interview, like, okay, it was maybe something wrong with him. She said she talked, I think that's where the 6 came from. During that interview was when she talked to 6 of his personalities. And at this point, they were saying that Billy, the core personality, didn't know about all the other personalities. But Arthur was the personality that, like, knew everybody.
Yeah, he was, like, not like the mastermind,
I want to say like the ringleader, but I didn't want to say ringleader, but that's like...
Because he was like, he was
like the
he was
boss.
arrogant. He was like, nobody can't do nothing unless I give them, I let them do it. So.
Yeah, so basically Arthur he was the ringleader of all the personalities. He was the only one who knew about all the personalities, apparently. And basically what Shelby said, the other personalities couldn't move until Arthur said so. So when one of the doctors wanted to talk to, what was another one's name? Tommy.
Yeah.
He had to give them permission to talk to. He had to give Tommy permission to come out, basically.
Like, you couldn't just be like, hey, Tommy, what's up? And Tommy's like, hey, what's up? Like, no, you have to get a permission slip signed.
Basically. You had to sign that form first. So,
yeah, but he did a lot of the talking, for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like he showed no like emotion, and like he controlled all the others. He was in charge, and he was British.
Yeah, this is where we make the jokes about the British accent.
Yeah, so he had the British accent, and then there was Reagan, who was the most violent of all of them.
Yeah, and see the thing was though, like when they first mentioned Reagan, I pinned everything on Reagan. Because I'm like, they never really got into detail about Reagan. It was just like, he's the one with the temper.
Reagan
has a bad attitude, which most of us all do. But, like, the way they painted him, I was like, okay, if anybody was responsible, it's Reagan and stuff.
And then they said that it took Arthur the longest to introduce everybody else to Reagan. Like, it took a minute before he let Reagan come out, apparently.
Yeah, because, I mean, he crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
He the shooter out the group, so.
Right. And then another personality was Tommy. And Tommy was like the escape artist. He got out of
Tommy was my favorite, to be honest.
He knew how to get out of straitjackets when he was... So, Harding Hospital was like the least... secure of the other hospitals. And they wanted to send him there for... not necessarily lockdown, but for help and for more observation. So it was just why they sent them there, which was like, okay, first mistake. If you got this many, you don't know who doing what.
No. And y'all don't know what they capable of.
You don't.
Because one of them literally is an escape artist. They was
who
like,
tried to escape from Harding.
The thing was though, they said he wasn't even really trying to escape.
Wasn't trying.
He just wanted to see if he could do it. Yeah. He walked up and was like,
a toddler.
I'm out.
A toddler.
You mean to tell me the one that's drawing rag dolls can also escape a straitjacket in a mental facility?
That's literally the personality of a toddler. Like, toddlers, they just do stuff to see if they can get away with it. It's like they don't even think about it. They was like, oh, I just want to see if I can do it.
Just want to test the waters.
Like Kanan. You tell him not to do something, he just go around to the next thing.
He's like, all right, fine. That's not okay.
I can't
so
do
this
that,
one,
so I'm going to just go to the next one. Like, just a baby testing the waters.
But no, that honestly, Tommy was my favorite when it was talking about like the escape. I was like, this guy is good.
He got out of his room. He could get through. He could pick locks. So he got out of his room at Harding and was just like hanging at the front desk, basically. Like how he didn't walk out the door. He just wanted to see if he could do it, not necessarily.
That's cocky to just go up to the front desk like, hey you guys, I made out using this. Maybe we need to put better locks on the door.
Here, somebody want to fix this. Somebody can really get out of here. Yeah, Tommy was the escape artist, and then Christine was just a scared little girl.
Yeah.
She didn't really talk much. Just scared little girl.
And that was the crazy part about it, because like that's what made it so believable, because he has so many personalities that was just that like.
One of them was like a prostitute. Like it was just like all type of.
One of them is a lesbian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, and then that's what kind of like got me going, because it was like. You gotta think about the time period we in. Lesbianism, is that a word? It sounds like a word. That sounds legit like a word.
The whole LGBT community was not.
It wasn't as out there as being. So
and it was frowned upon.
Yeah, so for you to take on a personality and one of your personalities is a lesbian, that's commitment. If you are faking it,
that's full
that's
commitment.
full on commitment and like complete. Albert Einstein.
Again, if nobody knows about these personalities, for real, he's just a man hitting on a girl.
Yeah. Very true.
So at the end of the day, if nobody knows
that this is,
it's not like he changes forms. It's just the mind.
It's just it's mentally. Like everybody has seen that movie Split. And remember, the only time we could tell was when he just changed like the sweater. He was like, or like if he like. He was the chick. He was like, all right, I get it. When he was naked, he was the bad guy.
Yeah, so it's like, how do you know? You never know who you're getting.
You don't. And they mentioned that throughout there. Like sometimes they didn't know who they were talking to, which is kind of crazy.
Right.
I'd like to know who I'm talking to.
But his sister, like his childhood friend, said that they witnessed who had the British accent? They didn't know who they were talking to. They thought it was Billy, but they had witnessed Arthur before because of the British accent, and he would just like say certain stuff, and they like that's not what that is in America.
Yeah, like patrol. He's like, I gotta stop and get some patrol. And he'll say it so casual in a conversation that it sounds like it's really like he talks like this.
Say gas. So,
like, dude, you've never been there.
Right, you've never even been there.
It's not even your car.
Like, I'm driving, not you. So they were like, I don't know if it's hair or whatnot, but yeah. So basically, they people had like heard these other personalities before, but they weren't really.
They just thought he was playing.
They thought he was joking.
Occasionally, he's from Britain.
Right. His brother just thought they were all jokes, and then. Okay, so then his mom basically said that he spoke in another language to her before, but she like couldn't make him understand that she didn't understand. She basically just had to pretend herself.
Because she said he looked so he was speaking Russian.
Yeah, and she just kind of had to like. It was no way of explaining it to him. Right. How you talk to kids?
No. Appropriate.
No, I remember this one kid at the daycare. He was talking and talking. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's so cool. He was like, no, it's not cool. I'm like, oh my bad.
It's not at all. Do you even know what I'm talking about?
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, no, I don't know what you're saying.
Here.
It was like that 2-year-old phase where they can talk but they can't talk, and he was just going and going, and he was talking so fast. I'm like, that's so cool. He's like, it's not cool.
No.
Okay.
He missed the whole plot.
My bad. Sorry. But and then that's why I don't just like say yeah to babies. Like, ain't talking in his baby language, I ain't saying yeah because I don't know what he's saying, but he know what he's saying. I just said yeah, now he going to play in the toilet because I said yeah, you can.
Like, no, I don't agree.
Yeah,
with
I can't do that.
Going on.
The whole time he was
show
telling
me.
Right, take my finger. Take me to what you're talking about.
After having a kid, you can't. Sometimes you just have no idea, and it's not even like a mommy thing because you learn them and be like, oh, that's juice.
Yeah.
But Russian, I can't just learn Russian. Like,
whole time he telling his mama what he was about to go do, and she said, okay.
Go for it.
Go ahead.
Sometimes I think Kana speaks Russian. He says "da" a lot, and "da's" like their yeah. So
he know what he's talking about.
Yeah. He responded to me with "da" before.
But yeah, so she was like basically talking about his mom started talking about his childhood, and when he was 14 was the first time that he was sent to a mental hospital, and the doctor said it was just like he was just having states of amnesia.
Yeah, which supports this stuff.
Right, because he was just going to sleep and waking up in a totally different space, totally different time. Like one point he had slept for like 3 days because to him sleep was like death. Like he was sleeping to avoid death.
Yeah.
Or the other personalities were putting him to sleep or Arthur was putting him to sleep to avoid him killing himself. Because it was even to a point where, hi baby, where Arthur wouldn't let him talk because or wouldn't let Billy come out because he was like, no, like he's gonna kill himself. And the doctor was like, it's so many people in the room right now.
We can help him.
We can help him. So that's when he finally let Billy come out and talk.
Definitely shows signs of suicide. And then like you gotta think that's so scary. So like if this is like you went to bed and then you woke up with Leah and you at my house. Right. And like I'm like, Leah, no, you've been here for like 2 or 3 days now. I can't get you to go home. Like you just said you don't want to go home. So like that'll mess you up so much to be like, how did I get here? You took an Uber. Like, what do you mean?
Right. So, his mom was telling us about how she got phone calls from school, and he was having a bad day at school. She brought him home, and that's when he had like slept for like 3 days and didn't know anything that was going on. Or another time, he told the story himself about how he went to school and he wake up with just terror. He woke up on a fire escape. Yeah. And his mom found him. So it was like just little stuff like that. And this is the end of episode 1 where they begin to get to the trauma and abuse. And his sister basically telling him like, we have to tell everything. Even the stuff you don't want them to know, they're here to help. We have to tell everything.
We got it. Because they can't, they don't know. They just think that you're some guy that's doing this. Just and like, I know you're not like that. See you up for the second episode?
Hey, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, in the second episode, they get more into like his childhood, and I was wondering, like, you know, because they say like with people with these.
Jenny, you never lived that life, too. You don't know what we're talking about. You can't just wake up and jump in a conversation.
So like they were like, where's this trauma come? Like I'm like, you know, for having like intense trauma and stuff. Every time I've seen like instances of this. So I was like really curious when they were talking about his story because I'm like his mom must have passed because it was like old interviews with her.
Yeah, it was older interviews
instead of like newer ones. But from then she looked like sweet, cared about him and stuff.
Like she cared about her kids.
But they came from a time period where mom, like, you know, dad's provided for the house, mom took care. So when their mom was like single, she ended up marrying this guy.
Yeah, like Shelby was saying, it was in that period of time, it was kind of frowned upon for like a mother to be single. So after her and her husband, their father separated, and he killed himself, she just kept getting remarried, and that's kind of where Billy's traumas began.
It started, yeah.
So yeah, we will go more into that on the next recap episode.
Not this week.
The following.
Not next week, but the following week after that. Yeah. Whenever it's Alia's case, I learned that you do Netflix recaps. Yep. And then whenever it's mine, we do Discovery Michigan. Yeah. I just learned that like yesterday.
I didn't think about it until you just said it. But yeah, that's
So we hope you guys like it. Check it out though, so you know what we're talking about, because like it gets so confusing. And like a lot to keep up with, and we can't. That's not our job. We didn't make the documentary. We're just talking about it.
We're just talking about it.
So check that out so that you guys can know what we're talking about with episodes 2 through 4.
Yep.
Okay, thanks guys.
Bye. Bye-bye. Okay, don't say bye then.
Thank you for listening to Crime in a Minute. You can find the transcripts, pictures we've discussed, as well as the links to our references at our website. There, you can also find the links to all of our social media. If you have a case you'd like us to talk about, you can leave a comment down below or go to the Contact Us page of the website and leave a suggestion. Each month, we will choose one for an episode. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps a lot.